Hello everybody. Welcome back. Alright, so today, I know that we made a doctor video for the killer catalog and all that, but as many of you may know, there have been some recently interesting developments surrounding this PTB and the following patch. It seems that Behavior made a bit of an oopsie and accidentally released at least some of the details regarding the Doctor's rework, which we are all predicting is coming in the next mid-chapter patch. And based on the fact that this was apparently on the same server as the Oni, which means that they were working on this actively before this patch was released, I would assume that is probably correct, especially since they already have descriptions already in place. So it must be quite close to being completed. So, the Doctor himself is not changed as of yet. He is still the same as always, but his add-on descriptions and his power description have been changed. So, there have been quite a few viewpoints on this, and honestly, the number one viewpoint on this so far is that this is not going to help Doctor. This will make him worse. And as someone who played Doctor a lot and who I feel understands him better than the average player, I would like to give my 2 cents on the issue. So let's take a look at his power first off. Carter's Spark. As you can see by reading through this, there is a new section right here, right down there, grants the ability to charge and release a static blast attack that increases Survivor Madness anywhere within the terror radius. Now, I want you to also take note that if you read over the whole ability, the passive ability to build Survivor Madness while in treatment mode is gone, as is the description for swapping stances. So, what does this mean? Well, I personally view the fact that the Doctor is losing his ability to passively increase madness could be a problem for several reasons. 1. Early game pressure. Doctor has something that very few killers have guaranteed to him. A decent way to get early game pressure off by locating survivors very quickly. Which is very important for him. Secondly, he's losing his ability to passively build madness via terror radius, which means that was a little tiny bit of map pressure that he had through his terror radius that he no longer gets, and could sometimes come in handy. Thirdly, endgame scenarios. Now, my favorite thing to do as Doctor in the endgame to help secure the 4K was to slug the third person when they were in Madness Tier 3, or if they were in Madness Tier 2 when I got them, I would go ahead and turn them into Tier 3 by my static field. Doing this would allow me to leave them on the floor, and I would always have Doctor auras looking over them, so I always knew where they were. But I would be able to actively search the map for the third person in treatment mode and build up their madness and flush them out so they couldn't just hide from me for 5,000 years thanks to the hatch mechanic. So if you put that all into perspective, Doctor is losing a lot just by losing his static field and his terror radius. Like, it's a lot more than people realize. Now, this static blast, on the other hand, as we can see, if we go to his add-ons... Oh, we were already in them. Where is it? Where is it? Restraint. Right? Is this it? No, that's not it. Not Restraint. Where is it? Where is it? No, Illusionary Balance, blah, blah, blah. Calm. Okay, here we go. Calm. Now, this add-on used to increase your terror radius in treatment mode, or at the current, and still does, and decreases it in punishment mode. Now this one says now that his terror radius increases when Static Blast is ready, and then secondly, it goes down when Static Blast is on cooldown. So we can gauge at least one thing for this and predict another thing. So what we can gauge from this is, obviously, it confirms that his terror radius will no longer... Actually, we can confirm 2 things, sorry. Okay, so first, this confirms his terror radius no longer causes passive madness. Secondly, sorry, my dog bumped my controller. And secondly, it shows us that the static field will go, the static blast will go on cooldown once used. We don't know how long, but we know that it will. So that means that the devs are intending for you to only use this on occasion, which means unlike the static field, Doctor does not always have access to this trait. So, from the sound of how Static Blast works, it seems like it's merely just a shock therapy attack that hits everybody in his terror radius. But it's the only real use I can find for this, aside from maybe using Whispers to nail some tracking. Like, it can pair with Whispers for some super tracking, but other than that, I think the most you'll get out of this, if it's as simple in play as it is on paper, then all you'll really get is the ability to say F you to flashlighters and maybe occasionally find somebody who's trying to urban evasion you. That seems to be about the only thing you're going to gather from this. And it could be useful, depending on how long the cooldown is, but I would imagine the cooldown is going to be at least a minute, because I don't see them allowing Doctor to have something that powerful, at least currently. Now, as you can see, he's also got an additional add-on that got changed, the Scrap Tape, the useless donut shock, and this one puts a little charge on anyone that's hit with static charge or the shock therapy or static blast. And whenever this survivor goes near another survivor within 4 meters, they get zapped as if they were hit with a shock therapy. Now, this add-on could be good for pressure, because it makes it to where if survivors try to cooperate with one another, they get the zap, and then you know where they are, if they still scream like normal, or at the very least they get a chunk of madness thrown onto them, which could be useful. This add-on actually is very nice. So, my thoughts on this thing, after looking at all this, just based off of what we know so far. Oh, I almost forgot this last one. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Obedience. Obedience is also being changed. This is the one that would cause exhaustion whenever they were in Madness Tier 3, and extend the time it takes to get out of Madness. Instead, this one can cause a chance to cause skill checks to go counterclockwise, which might catch some people off guard and actually make his gimmick with Madness actually do something. Now, losing the exhaustion, while this isn't the most popular add-on that he ever had, is a big deal, though, just because that add-on to the ability to take away, to cause exhaustion is pretty strong, but we have this now instead. And of course, Iridescent King, as you can see, Iridescent Obedience down there at the bottom, skill checks turn counterclockwise as one of the afflictions, so Iridescent King got slightly changed as a result. So, my thoughts on all this after looking at it all. It seems to me this could be a massive gimmick and will indeed make the Doctor not as good if they do it wrong. Oh, hold up, I got some points I need to put into the Oni here while I talk about this. Sorry about that. I've been working a lot to get the Oni leveled up so I can do some fun stuff with him. Alright, so, and the only way I could consider this to be overall better, just based on what I'm seeing, is if he no longer has to swap to treatment mode, which based on the lack of the description here, and the fact that they felt the need to change the discipline, I believe, no, the Calm series add-ons, right here, to no longer be held to his treatment mode. So it's not a confirmation, but those two things together can lead us to believe that maybe, just maybe, he no longer has to swap stances to fire his shock therapy, which would be huge for him, because that means he no longer has to slow down to switch to the treatment mode, he's no longer going 110 speed when using his power, and he no longer has to swap back, slowing him down again, and it will actually allow him to use his ability in a way that's skillful and rewards good play. And believe me, I'm hoping more than anybody that's the case, because if he still has to do all the swapping crap, despite the fact that his power he's lost his passive, it's going to hurt him a lot. Because, like I said, he's going to lose his early game pressure. Static Blast is honestly, on paper, a gimmick beyond comprehension. And I would much rather see the Doctor in a more powerful state. But the issue is, we also can't count on the fact that they're trying to make him stronger, because they even said themselves they're not actively trying to make him a better killer. They're just trying to make him, quote-unquote, more fun to play as and against. Now, I don't know about you, but this, while the idea of the Static Blast can be cool and hopefully has a cool animation, there's no guarantees that it'll help the Doctor be more fun to play. Maybe it'll make him more fun to play against, as survivors no longer have to give a crap about being in his tear radius, unless he's using Static Blast, but other than that, they no longer feel that pressure that you normally feel in Doctor's presence. And so I feel that as a whole should be taken into consideration when they're implementing these changes. Thankfully, since we've seen some of these already, we can already go ahead and start giving our feedback on it, because it's important that we do so. And if any of you devs stop in here and watch this, I implore you, consider it. If it's not already in place, consider making it to where he no longer has to swap stances to use his powers. That would make him feel more streamlined. He wouldn't be getting slowed down every 3 seconds just to use his ability properly, and it would allow him to actually perform better where he's supposed to be performing well. And I'm also hoping that maybe we might get that slight buff to his base range that everybody's been asking for forever. But I'll be honest, if you don't have to swap stances, I would take that as a trade-off. Because then the Static Blast could actually be of some use, and it won't feel like a huge loss for him, because he'll be gaining the ability to chase a little bit better, which is his primary issue. I might be able to demonstrate what the issue is with his current way of doing it in this footage, but on the off chance that on the chance that I do well, I want you to understand that on bigger loops that it's not so easy, and I think it should be rewarded, especially since the current way of playing Doctor for almost every Doctor I've ever faced is just to zap people till they're in Tier 3 madness, and then maybe do some shocks, but they never really do any predictions. They never do any real clever shocks half the time. And I think that the Doctors who take the time to learn him to the degree where they understand how to do it should be rewarded, just like learning how to play any killer, I feel, should be rewarded. So I hope you guys can consider that if you guys see this video. Because Doctor was my first killer, as I've mentioned before in my videos, and I find him very near and dear to my heart as a result. And plus, I just love I can tell somebody or a group or whoever was in charge and spearheading the design for Doctor, they put a lot of thought into him in a way, because he's got the most complex ability in this entire game, because there's so many different variables, so many different factors to it. There's so many things you can do with it, so many different builds that Doctor is capable of just through his add-ons alone. It's just amazing, really. So let's see. Look right here. Ya yeet. I'm gonna get you. Let me see if I can hit her. Nope. Oh, yes, I did. Nice. Okay. So this kind of tile is gonna be hard. Oh, shit. I swapped. Now I'm gonna have a hard time catching her because of all the slowdown. Look at that. Now this tile is pretty strong on a normal basis, but let's just get a hit on her. Or not. Alright, so they don't throw down pallets. But as you can see on that tile, all these slowdowns really hurt. Got her. Where'd she go? Frames on console can be pretty rough. I lost him. Damn it. And also, we really need to work on this sound bug. I can't hear worth a damn whenever I'm in chase. That really needs to get fixed. Where'd she go? Don't know how you didn't get hit the first time, but whatever. Anyway, pick you up. So that right there would be a good trade-off for being able to not to track passively with the doctor anymore to help his chase, because that would just overall make him better, because that's where he lacks. And you can still use the static blast for some minor tracking, but I don't think it's enough to consider removing the entirety of his static field, which is his bread and butter in the current state of him, and throw it for something that's honestly not going to be very useful in a lot of situations. And I feel that Doctor should be getting something to make him better if you're going to go through the trouble of working on him anyway. That was with Moldy Electrode too. Like, the range on Doctor is so abysmal. I can't get him. Got her right there. She outpositioned herself. This bus tile is rough. And look at this. I have to go 110, slow down myself, slow myself down again, and then I can finally move at 115. But by that time, look at how much distance she got. Barely made it to the pallet. Barely. Even though I played the correct move multiple times. It took that many outplays with the shock just to get any real results. That's absurd. If I mess up one swing, they can make it to a pallet and extend the chase by another 30 plus seconds. And if if they F up and get hit with the shock therapy when I angle it to catch them off guard, they don't get punished for it. Pop that. Oh, there's one. She's out positioned. I don't need to shock her here. Couldn't get her. What? Scratch marks? Hello? Okay. Alright, let's lure her around here. That'll limit her options. No pallet there. I didn't realize there wasn't one. Okay. Got her. It just takes so much effort just to get the shock therapy to be worthwhile. And if you mess it up by even a millisecond, you get bodied and you just get shut down. Alright, let's just do this. So Claudette over here thinks she's being clever. Let's go over here. Newsflash, you're not being clever. All these vaults. This is the kind of area the Doctor should excel at, but he doesn't. Luckily, she was silly enough to try to go back for the pallet. Guess she thought she would outlast the stun time. But even then, the fact that she thought she could beat me there, despite the fact that that was the most easy thing in the world for Doctor to counter, that just goes to show you how non-threatening this ability is most of the time. And how many, and with all the slowdowns, I mean, they're usually correct. And then there's also bugs that go on with the ability where sometimes you feel like you should have stopped them from going, but it doesn't stop them. I saw you. I mean, look at this. I had to swap and do all that, and I couldn't stop her because of that. And she makes it through there again. It just takes too long. Alright, she effed up right here. I might be able to get her. Yeah. Oh, barely. Fuck. It's always such a close call. And this is why Doctor doesn't perform very well, because every time he gets one of his zaps off and forces a play, it's always extremely too close for comfort. Okay, I'm not gonna bother. I'm gonna check around these gens. I need to make sure to keep these generators down, because obviously if I don't, I'm not gonna be getting very far. Alright. Multiple of you here. Allow me to slow that down for you. There we go. Luckily she didn't dodge that, because if she did, she would have got the pallet down and would have been safe. What are you doing? You aren't gonna get me. No way you're thinking about blocking me. There's no way you honestly... Oh. So, right here, since I'm in treatment mode, I'm passively building up madness. And allowing myself... Oh, hello. And as I'm building up madness passively... Yeet. There we go, that's another injury. Where did she go? I saw where Yui went, but I don't know where she went. She's right here. Or she was over here? Oh, I'm confused. Gotta go over here and pressure these gens. Right here. Tracking as killer is very difficult whenever there are no sounds. Oh! Well, I'm gonna get destruck. Damn it. Oh, never mind. That was lucky. Oh, hello. Damn it. Alright. I outmaneuvered her here. She tried to fake it. Listen up here, ma'am. Oh, dead hard. Nope. I'm amazed they haven't used this tile yet with how many times they've been using it. Oh shit. Oh, good thing I was blocking her. Holy damn. That was horrifying. I nearly messed up big. Now, in that situation, the static blast thing would have been pretty cool. I could have checked for anyone around, I would have seen her, and it would have stopped her. That part is awesome. And I do think that could be a really cool thing. Oh, I missed her. I guess she thought I was going to hit her, or she would have gone for it. Oh, nice fake. Nope. Won't work twice. So let's see. This last guy is around here. So okay. No problem. Alright, I think I got her here. She's got nothing left to go to. Just had to make sure there was no dead hard. So, even though I won the match, it was... first off, they were throwing themselves at me, essentially, especially the girl with the flashlight. She was not helping her team at all. She was nothing but a detriment. She didn't get a single flashlight save. Not even really an attempt of one. She just wanted to taunt me and paid the price for it. But you see why the core issues of the Doctor and why he is the way he is. The amount of stance swapping and switching I have to do in order to fire off a shot and try to counteract their loops. It's insane how much of it I have to do. And I feel like if they're going to remove his passive tracking, which is part of who he is, they should compensate with giving him some better chase, which is exactly what people have been begging for ages. Like, I saw a post on the Dead by Daylight forums just the other day about how people want Doctor to have extended range. Or rather, the guy asked what was the one thing that they would change about the Doctor if they could. And almost everybody answered with that they would increase the base range of his shock therapy to the same as the Moldy Electrode. And I mean, as you saw, the range, even with the Moldy Electrode, is not very good. And with all the slowdowns and stuff Doctor has to deal with just to fire it off, not to mention the fact that Moldy Electrode takes it even longer to fire, it's just, it all adds up, and it really screws the Doctor over in situations where he should have had the edge. All because people want to use his ability like it's designed to do, but the way the numbers have been implemented are just not good. So that's basically my conclusion. As I said, if you no longer have to swap stances, and if they maybe are considering increasing his base shock therapy range, I'll be happy. Because that's what Doctor really needs if they want to make him more fun to play and give him his own playstyle that actually works and reduce the bugginess that is involved with shock therapy, because less instances of that should occur if that is the case. It should either be they make it or they don't. It shouldn't be I hit them, they shouldn't have made it, but they did. Anyhow, I thank you all for watching this video. Please give your feedback and let me know what you guys think. Devs, if you're watching, I hope I helped out to see this Doctor change through. We've been waiting for this a long time, and I would love to see it implemented smoothly. I want to see the Doctor shine. I don't want to see him plummet into darkness. Anyhow, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you all in the next video.